We will pay. We will pay. Savannah Guthrie has spoken, has posted a new message on Instagram. Couldn't be any clearer. We will pay the money. There was no choice. What is the choice? Everyone has been talking about proof of life. I get it. I understand. I don't know if they've gotten proof of life. There's no indication that they did. But it's proof of life versus a chance of life. That's not even a choice. If there's a chance that you can get your mother home, you're going to do it without proof of life. And that's what's happening here. This was psychological warfare from the other side, making it play out publicly by sending the notes to the media purposely, not having any communication, so all communication had to be public. But at the end of the day, whether it was public or not, if you're given a chance of life, if the FBI and police have done nothing for you, not that they haven't done anything for you, but there's no results, and the deadline is Monday, and you know your mother, each day that goes by is in excruciating pain, how do you do anything other than pay the money? How do you do anything? Yeah, you asked for the proof of life, but it wasn't coming unless there's been a subsequent communication that has been made public. Let me play for you what Savannah Guthrie just posted directly to the author of the ransom note or notes.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
One more time.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
There's a lot of questions just from that statement. But what's clear is that this is the only choice. And I know I've been on the air, I've been on here talking about this, and I think when people looked at it, they looked at it like the way we look at political negotiations with hostages and terrorists, which is, we're not going to set a precedent. We're not going to pay the money because then they'll take someone else hostage or they'll do it again and again and again and again. And I understand that part of it. And without proof of life, they're just going to keep doing it or people are going to take advantage. But you only have one mother. You only have one mother. And if there's any chance of life, and even let's take it one step further, because I don't know all the circumstances, what they believe. Even if Nancy didn't survive, they still want her back. So she can rest in peace, so her family can be at peace. Either scenario, but proof of life doesn't even, it's almost irrelevant. They just want mom home, whatever state she is in. But I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance she could be alive. I think there's a chance she could be returned. But and if there's a chance, like if there's this much of a chance, you're going to pay the money. The downside is it's money, right? Right? Money's relative. All the money in the world for someone that doesn't have any money, okay. But a lot of money for someone that has a lot of money, okay, I don't have as much money and I may just lose it all and you may never contact us and our mother may never come back. But look at the alternative. If you let the deadline pass and you don't pay the money and you never see your mother again. That to me, that was, and they knew that. They knew that. That's why the ransom note is sent to the media to make it public, to force Savannah and her family to communicate publicly. And then to put into that first note, oh, your mother knows everything that's going on. Your mother knows what the demand is. Right? That may not even be true. But if there's a chance that that's true, if there's a chance that she's alive, if there's a chance that she's alive and she'll be returned, if there's a chance that she's alive and the author of the note is the one actually responsible for this, then you have to pay the money. There is no choice. There's no choice. There's no hardball. You can't play. What hardball are you playing with them? It's your mom. It's your it's your mother. Yes, investigators are continuing. Yes, the FBI is continuing. Everything else is happening. There may be more at play than we know. But at the end of the day, you're going to tell them we're not paying you? This isn't Mel Gibson in the movie Ransom. This is real life. This is a real family. I mean, look at Savannah Guthrie. You've been watching her for years, every morning on the Today Show. This is rough. This is brutal. And this is putting someone in a spot where they have no real choice. If whatever's in that note is, and obviously she's read the note, she's read the communication. Is it possible to provide proof of life? Sure, there's probably a way. There's probably a way. We don't think they did. Maybe they provided proof of death. I don't know. We don't know if there's been any subsequent communication other than the first note sent to 3 media organizations and a second note sent to 1. I think about it this way, and think about all these cases that we cover where people go missing and family members that know that their loved one is gone. Let's take an example of a case we're covering, Maya Miliete. Her husband's going to be on trial for her death. She hasn't been found. You don't think her family wants her back to let her rest in peace? Either way, you want her back. I don't know, they know more than we do, right? Because they've read everything that's come in. We only know what's been described in somewhat vague terms with some level of an indication that There were some things in those letters that would convince the family that they were the ones in the house. But maybe they can't provide proof of life because there is no life. But does it matter? Is it more is the proof that they were the ones who took her more important? I think tonight we're all going to hope, we're all going to pray that Nancy does come home, that Nancy is alive. But this is the only chance. Now, to get into some more of the specifics, when it comes to the payment, we've heard Bitcoin. I had a Bitcoin expert on my show last night. Some of us who don't deal in Bitcoin don't understand the ins and outs of how it works. But this man who runs a bank and deals with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency every day, this is his life, this is his world, thinks it's going to be virtually impossible without the help of a state actor like North Korea or China for the person to actually be able to launder and get the Bitcoin from that Bitcoin address that is now part of the blockchain. I don't pretend to understand fully how all of this works, but there's obviously a digital trail on this Bitcoin address where the money will be deposited. And whether they move it to other places and try to shuffle it around as much as you can, he said in the Bitcoin world, there will be thousands of people around the world who will be able to track it down because they all will want to jump in and be the heroes who can track down the Bitcoin that was paid in this ransom case. So the investigation is not over. But what we hope and pray is that the captivity of Nancy is over and that she's released. And if they want to try to get their millions in Bitcoin and somehow retrieve it, good luck with that. I think for Savannah and her family, that doesn't matter. What matters is Nancy. And if Nancy's not alive, they still want her. I'm sure they still want her. Why wouldn't they? Who wouldn't? A lot of comments. And I understand the split here. People saying, yes, proof of life. I put a poll up and it was like 75-25 proof of life, don't pay a dime. And, when we talk about those types of stories and cases, whether it's hostages with a hostile nation or rogue terror group, and it's the government negotiating and the government trying to protect other citizens around the world from falling to the same fate by not negotiating or paying people like that. This is different. This is much more personal. This is about 3 children and 1 mother, their only living parent. Who may or may not be alive, who may or may not know that she's being held captive. But what they know is they don't have their mom right now. They want to bring her home. And when you watch it, it seems like one way or the other. Let's watch it. I'll play it again. And this time when you watch it, keep it in your mind. Do they know if she's alive or not alive?
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
That sounds more like she's not alive. That sounds more like she's not alive. It sounds like she's not alive. Celebrate peace. It doesn't sound good. I'm reading all the notes, and I think we can agree. It does sound like Nancy did not survive whatever happened inside that house. I don't know what the plan was. All right, Cal wants me to play it one more time. I'll play it again.
We received your message and we understand.
Okay, we understand. Was it cryptically written that they can't provide proof of life? Maybe.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her.
Celebrate with her. A celebration of life?
This is the only way we will have peace.
It's the only way we'll have peace.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
This is valuable to us, right? And I mean, you wouldn't have to say it's valuable to us for her to be returned alive. That would be obvious, right? It doesn't sound good, but you know, it could go either way. If you want to look at this in terms of a criminal investigation, paying the money, and again, this presumes things that, again, are not set. But if we presume that the author of the ransom letter is responsible for what happened to Nancy, and if Nancy is no longer alive, and you pay the author of the ransom note, and that person is connected to what happened to Nancy, it may be your best chance to catch him. Maybe your best chance to get him. Now, I don't know how they return her without being detected. How does that play out? If you're returning someone alive versus someone who's not alive. Either way, it's like physically you have to go somewhere. And to do that, you're going to have to be in a vehicle. You're going to have to, unless you are, where could you be where there'll be no detection of you? A place where it's real busy or a place where there's no one? Do you have some sort of a stolen vehicle that can't be traced? Because something's going to be spotted on a camera, license plate reader, wherever it goes. Like there's no way around that. There's going to be cameras in buildings. There's going to be people on the street. I just don't know how this exchange goes. Because according to Harvey Levin in the first ransom note, it was you pay the money and after 10 hours, she'll be returned to Tucson. Well, she might be in Tucson already. They may just need 10 hours to get out of Tucson. But the payment of the money, if you're looking for a level of justice here, is your best opportunity to track them down, is to pay the money, have this exchange, and then things are going to happen that could lead to evidence, that could lead to an arrest, that could lead to a prosecution. If she comes back alive, right, you're still going to do all of that same investigation. Either way, the charges will just be different. But the person who did this is not going to be able to rest. This isn't one of those cases that they'll just move on from, even if we do have the happy ending. If we have the happy ending, it's not the end. We're at the beginning of this investigation. They're not going to Just let them go. So I would look at it this way, either way, that the money is almost like a way to, while you're not posting a reward, it's like you're posting the money knowing that that money gives you an opportunity to get your mom back and also gives you a greater opportunity to help law enforcement track down whoever's responsible. Because unless it's some internet troll, someone's going to try to get that money. And there's going to be a trail on the blockchain in that crypto world. And there'll be crypto experts, not just working for the government, but at home behind their keyboards who know how to do this stuff, who will be in like a race to try to out the person who's got the Guthrie millions. The story just begins. And it'll be a worldwide manhunt. So I don't know. That's the only part of all this that really makes me take a step back and say, maybe this isn't what it sounds like. Maybe it isn't. But if the family's reacting this way, it seems that they are convinced that the person behind the ransom is the person responsible for going into Nancy's house. So now you pay the money, and what do you just wait. You just wait, and you just wait. And you cling to each other, which they are literally doing in this video. Holding on to one another, holding on to hope. But in this moment that you see Savannah, if she is convinced that her mom's not alive, like you're holding on to hope until you're no longer, there's no chance of her being alive. And is that where she is right now? If it is, think about what this is like. Like you're begging some animal, some person who does not deserve to be walking free on earth. You're begging them to just return your mother after giving them millions of dollars. And you have to beg them for it. It's cruel. This is absolutely cruel. Like, even if you do everything that they say, you are still like in this position where there's no guarantee of anything, and you have to beg some despicable person like this. Imagine what it takes to do what they did here. Now, one of the other issues in trying to figure out, what really happened here is I go back to those 41 minutes in the house. Was this what we're seeing now? Was this the plan all along? Or was there a change of plans? I can't imagine the plan was go to the house, disable the camera, the doorbell camera, and then 41 minutes later, leave with Nancy dripping blood. That's not the plan. There's no way that's the plan. Why the delay in the ransom? Like, was this the plan all along, or did something else happen? Did something unexpected happen in the house where they had to change plans? Or did they create a plan once they figured out who they had? Did that change everything? Like, did someone go in that house for a robbery, a burglary, and something went wrong, and they remove Nancy because it's evidence, and then they turn it into this whole other thing. Or while someone's doing that, someone else completely separately is trolling the Guthries online with this ransom story, and it's completely unconnected. I mean, that is all still possible in this because we don't know for sure, like, what is going on in those 41 minutes. We also don't know the contents of that second letter and why there were people up on the roof and why they're taking Nancy's Subaru and playing around with a floodlight in the back, and it looks like a camera on the side of the house that they didn't take before. A lot of strange moments here, but again, we're not getting all the information. But the headline tonight, because you knew something had to happen this weekend with the Monday deadline. There were two deadlines. Deadline one was an increase in the amount of money. That's what I've taken from what's been released. That the original demand was here, then after Thursday, the demand goes up. But then on Monday, there's no more demands. It's the end of the game. But you're not going to let it get to Monday. You're probably not going to let it go to Sunday. So you go to Saturday. But from what she said, it just seems like they've got some extra information about Nancy that we don't have. And despite that, they want her back. It's important. It's important. This is Heather Cooper Smith. Thank you, Heather Cooper Smith, 3056. Hello from Philly. Many love. You're awesome. Keep up the terrific work. Thank you for the support, Heather Cooper. I'm going to get to some of the comments now, and I'm probably already a half hour behind here, but I'm going to scroll through, try to get to some of the questions on this Saturday night. The big breaking news, they will pay. They're paying the money. They're going to bring Nancy, hopefully bring Nancy home. But what does that mean? Does that mean bring Nancy's remains home, or does that mean bring Nancy home? Okay, this is a good question here from Fearless Query 21. Why was Savannah so cryptic? Why can't she say, I understand the mom didn't make it, but we still want her remains returned to us? It may be in the note. There may be some limitation about what they can say in the note. It could be advice from the FBI. It could be maybe not wanting to make everything overly public. And they were forced to make this public, right? It's not Savannah and her family who's making this go public. It is the person behind the ransom note. Because the note goes directly to Savannah Guthrie and her family somehow. We may never even know there was a note. They may figure out a way to respond, but this may be the only way they can respond. I think a lot of the answer to that question lies in what's actually in the note. But it could be FBI experts in how to deal with this and profiling people, et cetera, in what best to say and not say. But I'll play it one more time because what's important here, she's not reading a note. This is not scripted. This is straight from Savannah and her family.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace.
The whole time, Cameron, the brother, you could tell he's just praying. As a Savannah, they put their heads down. They are in such a rough spot. Such a rough spot.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
And at the end, they make the direct contact. Listen, we will pay. We will pay. Patty, tonight, maybe take her body out in the desert or woods where there are no cameras. I think that's possible. I think that's possible. But again, if you're going to a very remote area, How do you get to that remote area? Are you going to pass in, you know what I mean? Are you going to, you have to pass something at some point to get to the remote area, unless you're switching cars. I don't know how they return this without getting detected because they've been so careful already. At least it appears they've been so careful already. Okay. Trust is love. What is crypto? Crypto, it's digital money. It's money that's not fungible like this. It's created. Um, it's difficult to understand because my own understanding of it is very limited. But crypto is it's a monetary, I guess, systems that are outside the normal systems of money, and it's sort of like an agreement amongst people who exchange this in value. Now, Bitcoin is created by mechanical machines, and there's a limited amount of it. And people have Bitcoin farms where they create Bitcoin coins, and I don't understand that part of it. What I do understand about it, though, is that it leaves a very distinct digital footprint. So if someone has a Bitcoin address, someone can make the deposit, transfer the money to that address. But then when it's in that address, it's difficult to actually extract the money and take the Bitcoin and turn it into actual fungible cash that you can use in the real world. The expert I had on said the only way he could see someone doing it is with the help of a nation state like um, North Korea or China. And that's possible depending upon the level of sophistication. You know, if this is cartel related, they may have those types of relationships and be able to take it and somehow be able to use that money. But it will create a trail, which will be, a big part of the investigation to try to catch the people responsible for this. And there's different cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is the most famous. It's like the original, the OG of cryptocurrency, but there's a whole bunch of other ones that are less detectable, which is why it's surprising that they chose Bitcoin as the one, but there's got to be a reason behind it. Here's some news from Debbie Freitas. Carrie Doucette news highlight out of El Paso, Colorado. Body found in a ranch canal. Could be a ranch worker. However, it sounded like more than that. There we go. There's going to be a lot of that this weekend. Law talkers, how much? Thank you, law talkers. How much money did they demand? Harvey Levin, who got one of the notes over at TMZ, said it was in the millions in Bitcoin. Also, want you to know Billy Morris sending some stars on Facebook. Thank you, Billy. Come home, Savannah Guthrie. Mom, Nancy. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. And Linda Jean Melville sent stars as well. Thank you, Linda Jean. Appreciate everyone watching tonight. And here's the real Zarp, who looks like I think that's a he, knows a lot about Bitcoin. Pay the money and watch the Bitcoin wallet activity. All activity on these Bitcoin wallets are public and can be traced. Thank you, real Zarp. That's the strange part of this. That's the strange part of this. And right now we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on X. Glenda the Good Witch, they will find them. You deal in the world of high profile. There's going to be a lot. You're going to be looking over your shoulder forever, especially if you try to extract the money. Pat Mitchell, did they find cameras on her roof? It seemed like there was a camera that had a solar panel, like a little mini solar panel that was wired to it, unless it was something that looked like a camera that wasn't a camera. But it certainly looked like a camera to me that was on a roof. There was also another floodlight, I think, in the back. Karen Johnson, 5248, the reward should be up to $1 million. Yeah, the reward has only been an FBI reward, right? I'm surprised like NBC didn't step in, but maybe they don't want to get into, again, NBC's like the government, but reward money versus paying ransom money, like NBC, hey, throw $500,000 out there, throw $1 million out there. I don't know why they haven't. That has surprised me. Let's see. I see some arguing with each other on there. We can disagree in the chat, but please don't be disagreeable with one another. Everything in the world of true crime has at least two sides. So make your case, but don't make it personal. I see some personal stuff going on in there. And we get enough of that in the world of politics. We don't need it in the world of true crime. All right. I'm just trying to get current on some of these comments. And we got my buddy Rob is watching tonight. We got more information. CBS News 48 hours Saturday night, 9 or 10. Scheduled to have 2 hours, addition of 48 hours at the 9 p.m. hour. Thank you, Rob. Always great to have Rob aboard. Very loyal viewer. There we go. Super Binky 22 with a super sticker. Thank you, Super Binky. Appreciate it. And Terry Claus Jones, thanks for keeping us updated. So much doesn't add up. From the beginning, this has been very, very strange, right? The first question, was she targeted because she's Savannah's mother? Was she targeted because she was an 84-year-old woman living alone who clearly has some money? So, and it could be someone thought, okay, we're going to hit this house tonight. This old woman lives alone. She's got jewels. She's got whatever. And we'll go in there and we'll get it. And then there was nothing. And then they're like, where's the money? Where's the money? And then things get physical. And then things go really south. And then they remove Nancy, the evidence. And then they find out, oh my goodness, her daughter is super famous. Let's get money a different way. I mean, that's possible. But there's so much that is up in the air on this one. I'm trying to get to Lisa Mitchell. I can't find your note. I see that you sent a note here, Lisa Mitchell, so I'm trying to find it. But it is not easy to find. I've got Michelle 2773. I agree, Vinny. I would pay. This is heartbreaking. Yeah, I think until you're in that position, you don't know what you would do, right? You don't know what you would do. But if it's the only chance of life or the only chance to get your mom back, it's tough to not do it. WTH is HAI to humanity. And what is wrong with humanity, right? That's what a lot of these stories make us think. Going after, we are people that go after seniors, people that go after children, and our criminal justice system does treat people like that differently. By the way, Gen X, one of the great members of our mod squad, say 5,000 watching, low on the thumbs ups. Let's get those thumbs ups going. Thank you. Gen X on the job, working overtime on a Saturday night. How about that? All right. Oh, I found it. Here we go. Lisa Mitchell, GD. Are they not able to trace the message the alleged kidnappers sent to the media? No, I don't think they have been able to. And there's a way that people on the web, they have it bounce from country to country to country to country. And it's almost like the shell game where people create when they try to launder money back in the old days by creating corporations and all these sub corporations and these shell corporations, and you move the money around so much that it becomes impossible to trace. But it's never impossible. I think it just takes a lot longer. So they may at some point be able to do it, but they haven't yet. Thank you so much, Lisa Mitchell, GD. Okay. This is Clark Rice. Come on, there needs to be equal coverage given to the very real possibility this kidnapping is a red herring for a red rum. This is not a kidnapping. Yeah, I think I think it comes down to those 41 minutes, Clark. Those 41 minutes. Like what's happening in the house in those 41 minutes? Is this whole thing just a big old cover up, right? So say it's a home invasion, robbery, that goes really south. What are we going to do? Make it look like a kidnapping that'll throw them off our trail, and then we just move on to the next crime that we're going to commit. Very possible. Brandy Lester Reinhardt with the $1 million question: why would they want Bitcoin if it's traceable? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Unless this is a very sophisticated plan and a very sophisticated operation that already has a way that they know, all right, we get the Bitcoin into our wallet and this address. We got a way to launder this. We've got a connection. That's why I said cartel. They might be sophisticated enough. Kay Oakley, 29063. She may have passed from a stroke. Absolutely. She's got a pacemaker. There's a lot of things that could have happened. There's a lot of things. The blood is very telling as well. If there's any sort of confrontation with an 84-year-old with a pacemaker, how is that going to end well? So that's possible as well. Thank you, Kay Oakley. Mary Fryer, 3170. Vinny, what the heck is happening to humanity? It's hard to say. It's not good, though. It's not good. We've got some more folks on Facebook sending stars. Angela Jaworski, thank you, Angela. Maria Carpenter Wright, thank you so much. I think there's more. Jen Williams Mercer, thank you so much for the stars over on Facebook tonight. And Linda Jean Melville. It's mind-blowing. They removed the tape when they did, only to put it back up again. Thank you so much. Sending stars as well. And then they took it down. Cody Thomas from Court TV is out there, and they took it down again today. This may be like, if the money's paid, then the next thing is, okay, can we get her back? How do we get her back? When do we get her back? How does that even happen? Who does it? When do they do it? 10 hours is what Harvey Levin was saying. So if this is, if this happened, if the money was transferred when she posted this, we're talking about the middle of the night would be the earliest. And maybe there would be another communication at that point with the location. CatFab, why say this is very valuable to us? Let's take another listen. Cat fat.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us.
Well, it's vague, right? This is valuable to us, like purposefully. Savannah speaks for a living and has for years. She's extremely bright. So the words that are chosen for a reason. So the question you're asking, obviously, what is the reason? The reason is to not reveal perhaps their belief or the status of Nancy if they know it already. But to me, the key words there are celebrate. So now, what did the children do now? Right, Nancy's children, the three we're looking at: Cameron, Annie, and Savannah. You pay the money. You pay the money, and then you can't go to sleep. What do you do? What the heck do you do for you just wait and wait and wait, and you're waiting for information that may never ever come. All right. Kerry's got a question. Kerry Doucette, another question. VP, is $1 million in Bitcoin the same as $1 million in USA dollars? So generally what they do is like Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin dramatically goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So my guess is when you make a demand in real dollars. I want $1 million in Bitcoin. So whatever the value of Bitcoin is at that moment, you put $1 million in, and then that $1 million, if Bitcoin goes up, could be worth more. If it goes down, it could be worth less. And right now it's at I think at half of its peak value, and it's happened pretty recently, which is another strange reason for choosing Bitcoin right now, because it has been going down, but what goes down eventually goes up. So maybe they're saying, give us this much in Bitcoin, because if we wait 5 years, it's going to be worth 5 times as much. Okay. Sherry Heath, wouldn't geofencing pick up all cell activity around the house just prior to and leaving the house? Yes. But you have to bring a cell phone. How well thought out was this? Did they actually bring their cell phones with them? I would say likely not. If they're sophisticated enough to communicate without being traced, why would they bring their phones with them? But if they did, yeah, absolutely. Sweet Lorraine, don't high rewards encourage more bad acts? Absolutely. Absolutely. They will. But that's why I said in the beginning, the analysis of this situation to me was always different than our government negotiating with terrorists. It's a difference. It's much different. This is personal. It's 3 children and 1 mother. Period. Full stop. End of story. At that point, are you really looking at, oh my goodness, is this going to encourage more bad acts? You can do anything and everything to save your mother or to retrieve your mother without a guarantee. But yes, sweet Lorraine, you're absolutely, and it happens in other countries like all the time. It's like par for the course in a lot of these countries, unfortunately. Lazy LCH, I think having to release on Insta is super weird. Why wouldn't they provide a way to do it non-public? They don't know who they're dealing with. And if you release something that can only be accessed a certain way, then the person on the other end is not going to do it because they're more likely to get tracked down accessing the response from Savannah and her brother and sister. That's the strangeness. But the public aspect of it, that was set in motion by the author of the note. who didn't send it to the family, didn't send it to law enforcement, but sent it to local media and TMZ, international media. And I think that was done purposefully like them because they wanted Savannah to have to negotiate or do whatever publicly, because that puts more pressure on her as well. Well, I say this is very valuable to us. I think we answered that. Thanks, Cat Fab. Again, folks, I'm a little bit behind in the comments. I try to stay current, but there's so many tonight. We got 10,000 people watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X tonight. So we got a big crowd, a lot of people commenting on all the different platforms. Much appreciated. Gene Tagger 843, no direct message to her mom, which is also a clue. Very perceptive, Gene. Very, very perceptive, Gene, because previously they did reach out to mom. Thanks for that, Gene. That's a great point. That's a really good point. Picking up on what wasn't said by Savannah. Cat Fab, where are the satellite cameras like in the movies? That's a good question too. I don't know. And I don't know how they work in the I don't know how they work in the dark, right? I don't know. I don't think there's thermal imaging. So I think daylight you can see stuff. At night you're not going to see much, especially in that neighborhood. There's no lights in that neighborhood. All right. Cajun Hot Spice, thank you so much. Military soldier upset at her brother, retired Colonel Guthrie, was an F-16 pilot, high tech. Whoa. That's a twist. That's a twist from Cajun Hot Spice. That would say this is not about Savannah. Everything's in play. That one I haven't heard yet, but it's very possible, right? Like, for instance, when we were first covering the case involving Monique and Spencer Tepe in Columbus, Ohio, everyone was talking about the dentist. And at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with the dentist, had everything to do with his wife, Monique. Here, we've been Savannah. Obviously, brother and sister have lives also, as Nancy had her own life. Thank you so much, Cajun Hot Spice. By the way, I can't eat spicy. I cannot eat spicy. Not anymore. Not anymore. Used to enjoy it. Marguerite Slavinsky. Thank you so much, Marguerite. Thanks for watching tonight. Appreciate the support on a Saturday night. I'm just trying so hard to get current. Auntie Ree, happy birthday to us, Vinny. Latest I've heard is she attends church online. So who missed her between 10:45 and 11 and called Annie? And what took them 1 hour to call police? Trust me, look at SIL. Okay. So my understanding, well, I don't know where Annie was when she was called, but we know that they got to the house, and within 7 minutes of getting to the house, they called 911. So again, everything's in play, Auntie Ree. And the call may have been made 10:45 and 11, but they didn't get to the house to look. Why did it take them an hour to call police? Because it took them an hour to get to the house. So there could be a there. But no one's been named as a suspect. But I don't know where Annie was at the time that she was contacted, if she was home or if she was in the middle of something or someplace further away, and obviously probably tried to call her mother first. All right. Here we go. Dolly Madison 5060. Wow. Thank you so much. I pray that she gets to go home. I wish I could have had a mother. Oh my goodness, Dolly Madison. This is so heartbreaking. Yeah. Sorry, Dolly, that you didn't have a mother. Moms are the best, right? I mean, moms are the best. Those of us who have been blessed and got to spend so much time with their mom. I mean, for me, my mom, my favorite sport, basketball. Who took me to play basketball for the first time? Wasn't my dad. He was working. It was my mom. Took me down to the courts. Um, no, moms are special. Moms carry us for 9 months and then bring us into this world. That's why also kids who go after their moms, major problem. And, if your daughter is dating a guy or dating anyone, or if your son is dating anyone, just look at the way that person treats their mother. That's what I tell my kids. See how they treat their mother. And that tells you what kind of person they are. Unless I know in court TV, we've come across some really bad mothers. I know. But generally speaking, as a general rule of thumb, we got some more stars coming over. Gene Williams Mercer sent some stars. Nope. Let's see. Here we go. Amanda LaRue. Thank you so much, Amanda. Kate McDevitt. Could it be someone very close to her? It could be. That's where the investigation always starts. Those closest. And when you say close, you start, family, last people with them, people who maybe work at the house, people in her life. I mean, all of that. That's the circle starts here and you work your way out. You don't start out here and work your way in. So I'm sure investigators have done that. Okay, we also have this is from, I think, is it Tina? I can't see what it says. Tina Clark. This morning, the president gave a statement stating they have some clues that are very strong and they should have some answers very soon. He said he wasn't talking about a search. He was talking about a solution. They have some things that may come out reasonably soon. A lot has happened in recent hours. What's your thoughts on that? I think that's consistent with what happened tonight. What happened tonight is we're talking about a solution here. We're not talking about a search, right? So maybe there was another communication, or maybe the family had come to a conclusion. So I think that's consistent. And again, Dolly Madison, thank you so much. And yeah, I wish you could have had a mother too. Moms are the best. Mary Fryer, 3170, with her size, injuries, age, weakness, would probably take more than one person to carry her out of the house. And in my opinion, as a nurse, more than one person there. Oh, yeah, very possible. And the more people that were involved with this, the better the chances are of solving this, of holding someone responsible. Because these are all dirt bags. And dirt bags, when they get into their next jam, will very quickly use the information they have related to this. So hopefully there's a whole gang of people involved in this. That would give the best opportunity to catch someone. Debbie Luttrell, 62. Yes, Vinny, I'm afraid that's what they're saying remains. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's what it sounds like, but I don't want to think that. But even if you're reading the body language, is telling me the same thing. Pat Mitchell, once they get the money, they may never hear from them again. Lord bless them. Absolutely. I think that's a strong possibility, Pat. I think it's a strong possibility because that increases their opportunity to get captured, to make a mistake, to leave some piece of evidence, to get caught on video, to be seen by a witness, right? Get the money and run. The question is actually getting the money from the Bitcoin address becomes another way that they can get caught. So all of that kind of plays in. Johnny Knoxville's awake tonight. 1 million in Bitcoin is 14.4 Bitcoins right now, which is substantial. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of us would love to have a couple Bitcoins right now. Thank you, Johnny Knoxville, up on a Saturday night. I figured he'd be out, right? Doesn't look like Johnny Knoxville would be out on a Saturday night, up to no good, right? Look at him. Not up to no good, but, having some fun on a Saturday night. But we appreciate you joining us tonight. I'm pretty good. I'm only like 10 minutes behind on the comments here. We've got Intentional Journey. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Eroy94, Vinny, in all your reporting, have you ever seen a real kidnapping with ransom have a good ending? Let's think about that for a second. Really haven't dealt with a real kidnapping with ransom. Like growing up, there was Patty Hearst. She was released, but she was arrested. That was a weird one. That was a strange one too. I would say no. And I think in the world we live in, it seems like unless you're in like an sort of a lawless country where the police are on the take and everybody's on the take and you can't trust anyone, I don't see how you can get away with this. When I say get away with it, it means get paid the money, get the money, and never get caught. It seems almost impossible unless you have a super level of sophistication, which may or may not be what we're dealing with. Johnny's back. The crazy part of this case, so many ways in and out of Nancy's neighborhood. It's not like the Idaho 4 case with 1 or 2 ways in or out. Correct. And you're not going to have all those cameras that you had in that situation. In Idaho, there were cameras where they traced from here to here to here. Then his cell phone is pinging. Then the cell phone goes off right at the time this camera picks him up, right near where the cell phone went off. They were able to piece that all together very well. Here, you look at the neighborhood, pitch dark, no streetlights to illuminate the car, to even sort of get a silhouette of the car. The houses are set back. Everybody's got an acre of property. There's the desert vegetation in front of a lot of the homes. You may see some lights, maybe, to help with the timeline and help with the direction towards a street where there are cameras. I think that's the best you could do, is to catch a pair of headlights and say, okay, then we see headlights over here, and that's leading to, okay, it's going to whatever, Canyon Boulevard, whatever it's called. Now it's on the main street. Okay, what are our cameras picking up here? So I don't think you're going to get a license plate or get a good depiction of the car in the neighborhood itself. But once you might be able to catch some lights, if the lights trigger the cameras to record for those couple of seconds. Jack Ack, 1429. Thank you, sir. New subscriber here. Welcome. Statistically, the last people to be with the victim are likely to have harmed them. Oh, yeah. Well, the last people will be the ones that would have harmed her. The question is, you're not talking about the last known people, because the last known people may not be the last people. The last known here, I believe, is the son-in-law, because Nancy took an Uber to Annie and Tommaso's house, dinner, mahjong. Then I believe Tommaso drives her back home. They live about 10 minutes away. Cody Thomas took the drive back and forth about 10 minutes away and dropped her off. The garage door goes up at 9:48. The garage door goes down at 9:50. Here's Freddie. Too much. Thank you, Freddie. Too much pasta arrabbiata for Vinny. Talking about the spicy. Yeah, I can't do the spicy anymore. The arrabbiata. I used to like the arrabbiata. No mas. All right. Sweet Lorraine. Who was at the supper? Just Annie and her husband? Not sure. How many people does it take to play mahjong? Because I believe she was playing mahjong there. I'm not a mahjonger. Don't you need like at least 4 to play mahjong? Or can you play 2 or 3? Were there guests over the house? Maybe. I don't know. That has not been released, but it's a great question. It's a great question. All right. Big crowd tonight. Big crowd. And Connie, Joe Howard, 847, scary. They may never get her back. Right? You pay, then you pray. And they not only are they praying, they're paying, they're begging, and they're praying for the return of their mom. Chin Plant 67. A great profile picture, great name. Lots of talk about Nancy targeted because of daughter's wealth. What if they didn't realize who she was until after taking 3 days for the ransom note? Maybe DNA fears to leave her there. Absolutely. Brilliant, Chin Plant 67. That could be what it's all about. And I talked about something similar to that, but I didn't have the added aspect, which is very true. DNA fears, right? If there's a physical contact, how can I make sure that like one of my hairs didn't fall onto her body, during this confrontation? So we remove her, we remove evidence. It's the removal of evidence. And that's why it takes 3 days. And it could take 3 days for them to send it, to throw the scent off, or to try to get more money, or it's someone trolling the Guthries, one of these hackers who has no intention of trying to get access to the money, but just wants to troll them in this vulnerable state that they're in for whatever reason, for kicks. Like that's possible too. Thank you, Chin Plant. That's like profile picture of the year, right? All right. I'm trying to get current on the comments. Cat Fab, could it be someone in her circle that may have a gambling drug problem or some kind of debt? Sounds local to me. Of course. Like anyone who knows her knows she's 84 and she lives alone. So, yes, very possible. Barbie Hernandez over on Facebook. None of us armchair quarterbacks have ever been in their shoes. Perhaps instead of throwing the family under the bus for their expressions, pray for them instead. Thanks, Barbie. I think the overwhelming majority have been praying from the beginning for the return of Nancy, but I get it. There's a lot at play here. But I was thinking from the beginning that there would be a payment if it was if the deadline's approaching and we don't have an answer, or maybe they have the answer, right? Maybe they have the answer that there is proof of life is impossible. Teresa Mesa, is there video that shows the time of the daughter or son-in-law when they returned home from dropping her off? What investigators have said is that they interviewed them. They said when they brought them, and the confirmation that they've made public is what is consistent is the opening of the garage door at the same time they said they brought her back. So that sort of confirmed their story of 9:45-ish, really 9:48, the garage door indicates it goes up, 9:50, it goes down. So that would make sense. You open the garage door, you say your good nights, you hug, you kiss, call me tomorrow, I'm going to church tomorrow. Okay. And then you get out of the car and then you walk in and then you hit the button and you close the garage door 2 minutes later. All that sounds very consistent with what apparently they said in their interview. All right. Back to the scroll. 23. Okay, I'm almost current. Once I get current, then I can do current comments. Becky Domino, DN6BL, thank you. Hope they get her back so they can have closure. Okay. Let me talk about that word closure, because to me, that's an important word in the world of true crime. And what I found from victims' families is when this happens, they never get closure per se. I describe it as they can turn the page, right? But here I think there's two pages that need to be turned. The first page is getting Nancy home, right? If they get her back, however they get her back, right? That turns a page. But there's one more page that is still up there, which is justice, which is the people responsible are held responsible. And until they get that, they can't close the book on this. And when they close the book, it's still not closure. It's not the emotional closure, but it's like the only thing they have left. Right now, they have two things left: getting mom back. And then the second thing is getting some sense of justice in all of this, which is going to be difficult. So difficult. Eroy94, thank you so much. The more I learn, the more I'm convinced this is some kind of sicko vigilante justice. Savannah Guthrie said this matters to us. People go missing every day that don't get coverage, but Savannah Guthrie's mom got coverage immediately. We've seen this before. Luigi, praying for Nancy. I see what you're saying. A Luigi type in all of this. Possible. If it's a Luigi type, it's going to be the more high profile person in all of this, which is Savannah. Interesting. I can't see, right, in the Mangione case, right? It's the victim in that is the CEO. He's the symbol for these people, whoever sees this as justice, right? He's the symbol of evil insurance companies, right? Because he's the CEO of it. Nancy Guthrie's an 84-year-old woman. There is no way anyone seeking that type of, drumbeat of support, you're never going to get it if you do this to an 84-year-old woman. You're not. But it's a sicko, so in their mind they may think that, right? That's the trap I fall into all the time. I think all of us do, is that we try to, equate logic into the world of someone who is committing atrocities. And you can't, because many of them, their whole mind is so skewed and warped that it will never make actual sense. The best we can do is to try to understand how it would make sense to them. So if you have some sicko, this might be what's playing out in their mind. I get it, Eroy. Thank you so much. HE double hockey sticks cat in Virginia. I stand by my comment to pay ransom despite Tanginistas saying it was stupid. Like you, my mother is my everything. Yep. Linda Smeenge. Yes, but what time did the son-in-law get back home, his home, after dropping her off? Do they have ring? That's right. And that's another great question. I've got to think it's been part of the investigation already. Has to be. And remember, you don't have to get a warrant for everything. You can just ask for it. And then if they don't allow it, and my understanding is that devices and everything were voluntarily given, even though I haven't heard that in a press conference necessarily. But that's got to be part of the initial investigation. Has to be. I mean, they went and they followed up with the Uber driver who dropped her off at Annie's house. So I've got to think you do the same with the son-in-law if he's the one that dropped her back off at 9:48. KIT. Thank you, KIT. And you need to put your picture. You need to put your picture in your profile. So we have more than just a letter. We want to see you. We want to see you. All right. I was almost current and now I'm back behind a little bit. Einland, no direct message to mom this time, so not alive. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, but it's more than that. It's just the tone and the body language. We haven't played it in a while. Let's play it another time because I think that's important. What we don't hear, but also watch the body language here.
And we will pay.
There we go. Back to the beginning. It starts with their heads down, praying.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
We'll pay for you to return her. Yeah, the more I watch it, the more it just does not sound. It doesn't sound good, right? Not even close to good. Cajun Hot Spice again. Thank you so much. Check airport hangars. Flightware is easy to track private planes. It's easy in and out and can return faster for ransom. Like if you're talking about a member of the military involved in all of this, that's a game changer to the possibilities and how sophisticated they could be. And then you get into, flightware and I've got to think they've been checking that even without a specific target, but to see where there's some planes that took off at an extraordinarily early time on Sunday morning, right? I've got to think Sunday morning is not a common time for planes to be flying around, right? Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't fly private, but if there's a plane taking off, her house is so-and-so amount of time from an airport, and we see close to that time that a plane is taking off. That's going to be something they're going to follow up. That's got to be part of the investigation. Cajun Hot Spice is on fire tonight, folks. Thank you. Let's see. And we've got Jalone Kaufman, 2723. Thank you, Jalone. Beautiful picture. Love the smiles. Love the smiles. Everyone's related in that picture. Have to be. Have to be. Charmaine TCSP, thank you. Vinny, have you ever had a stalker? Is it possible this is an obsessed fan of Savannah's? Thanks, XO. In our business, the stalking is the victims are much more likely to be women. So there's been some things, but like not per se, but for female anchors, it's much more common and a real issue. And security is always on top of it. When I worked in the CNN building, there were a lot of women on air, and inevitably they were the ones who had to have the beefed up security. A lot of times there would be pictures that were given to security. Here are people, if you see them anywhere in the building, flag it, get them out, So yeah, that's very common. And when you're at the level of Savannah Guthrie, top of the food chain, in TV news, yeah, that's going to be a real issue. So I think that could be part of it too. Like a whole thing is playing out within this person's mind. Like this is a way for me to contact her. It could be, but the way the notes were described, it doesn't sound like someone who's unhinged. the two are connected. All right, so let's keep going here. We're still scrolling. Auntie Ree is back. Thank you. They all look like they have more peace tonight than the other day. Hence this, and we understand because they know she is home with the Lord. That's reading the body language, right? The body language is absolutely different. All right. If I miss any of your super stickers, I apologize. It is me scrolling and the things are popping so quickly that as I scroll, sometimes it jumps on me here. Heather Cooper Smith with the super sticker. Thank you, Heather Cooper Smith, 3056. And you look just like, well, not exactly like Heather Cooper Smith, 3055. She used to watch the show. She doesn't watch anymore. So I'm glad 56 is with us tonight. Thank you so much. By the way, folks, just want to remind you that I'm on Court TV every night from 8 to 10 on television, 2 hours of live true crime. Obviously, we'll be covering this on Monday. Cody Thomas is out there. He's staying all weekend and has actually been texting me a little bit tonight. So that's all part of it. I'm just checking my notes, making sure I'm not missing anything here. Checking over here. KIT, new subscriber. How will they be able to verify proof of life given the huge advances in AI? I mean, I think the best proof of life comes from information that only the person who's been abducted knows and the people on the other side would know. Like perhaps the name of a goldfish, the grammar school that someone went to, some piece of information. And actually, like, this is a wake-up call for everyone, right? For everyone that, should a family just have like a word, like a special word or phrase that they all share? So if anything ever happens at any time to anyone, that's like their proof of life phrase, right? Number one, should we all have that in our families? We should. I think our family's going to do that now. The other thing is with your doorbell cameras and your surveillance cameras that you get alerts from, please, 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 if you can afford the extra $3 or $5 or whatever many dollars a month to keep the videos and have them stored on the cloud, please do that. And I don't represent any of these companies. I'm just saying it's a safety feature, right? Say you get an alert that you didn't notice, but there was an alert that there was someone walking in your backyard on Tuesday night and you never saw it. It's not recorded and it's gone. It's gone by Wednesday or Thursday. Like you don't have it anymore. And then something happens to you. Well, maybe something wouldn't have happened to you if you had an opportunity to see the video of who was in your backyard. And oh my goodness, it's my ex-husband. Boom, call police. Double lock the doors. Do whatever you have to do to protect yourself. You know what I mean? Like those, to me, those are the two takeaways in terms of safety that I'm taking from everything that's happened here. Because there's things, you don't think of it. You don't think of these things necessarily. All right. I got to get back to the scroll because I don't want to miss some of these comments. Gem 675. Who do you think did it, Vinny? That's a tough one. Like nothing close to reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't even think there's anything close to over 50%. From me, it had to be whoever went in that house, I think, had been there before or was connected to someone who had been there before who provided information. I think that's why she was targeted. 84 living alone. And it could be 84 living alone with a very famous rich daughter. But I think it was someone that was there. My gut is not telling me it's the family. My gut is telling me it's someone that did have information. It's someone that did have information about her and her life, the life that she was living, her situation. This has been very challenging in the scroll tonight. So many people. And it's appreciated. Just Emmy 2. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Just Emmy 2. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying up with us tonight. Gene Taggart 843, my apologies. I heard residents will see buzzards circling upon signs of death. A body of water is 18 miles from the home. I wonder if it's possible when trying to avoid buzzards. That's interesting. Well, desert, right? You're going to see the buzzards if the body's just left out there somewhere. I think water does avoid that, but the body's got to sink likely. So you've got to prepare for that. To me, the 41 minutes, right? Was this the plan all along? Was this a changed plan, or was this a brand new plan based upon, oh, let's do this now? Or is the ransom letter completely separate? I think it's connected. I think they believe it's connected as well for obvious reasons in the way they're responding to all of this. Thank you, Gene Taggart 843. Beth Moore 730. Thank you so much. Festive picture, big smile, lots of flowers. Loving it. By the way, folks, if you're here for the first time, please subscribe, right? We always say that. Please subscribe. It's helpful. Kim Sturchy, Paxton, Vinny, who do you think could do this and get away with it? This video makes me think something happened to her and the family knows. Yeah, to get away with it, when I say get away with it, meaning get the money and not get caught. There's a large level of sophistication, which kind of doesn't track the scene, right? To me, there's another conflict here, which is the crime scene is very sloppy and there's blood. That's not good unless that was done on purpose for some reason, but doesn't seem to be. There was a person detected on a camera, but there's no software image of it that exists, but there was a detection. That's kind of sloppy. You're in there for 41 minutes. That does not sound like a very sophisticated, precise, well-executed plan of extraction of a person. Yet on the other side, the ransom note seems to have a better level of sophistication and lack of detection, right? So that's a conflict. That's a conflict. And that may indicate there's more than one person involved, maybe many people involved in this, maybe two different wings of this operation, where you have someone behind a keyboard who's very good at what they do for whatever reason. And then you have the people doing the actual operation at the house who are not so great, but they're all maybe they're working together. Coffee loving mom of 3. That's a busy life. Her use of words, celebrate with her, and this would give them peace, maybe celebration of life. That's what I thought. I agree on that. I don't want to agree. I want to think that there's chance of life rather than a celebration of life. I want a chance of life. Eroy94 back again. Watch you on Court TV every episode. First time here on your YouTube. I hope you're taking time for yourself. I know a lot of reporters, media have relationships with Savannah Guthrie. It must be tough on the community. Yeah, it's real. This is the first story I've ever covered where I know the victim before the story. Right? Every other story I've covered, like something you get to know them, you get to know them through it, and that's a difficult way to meet someone. But you know someone beforehand, and then you watch the pain that they're going through. Makes it difficult to see that pain. You see how real it is because you know the baseline of who they are. And in this case, I know who she is off camera, which is an extremely nice person from a great, God loving family. That's who she is. She's a great journalist. She's a tough interviewer. She is extremely smart. I don't know if you know this about Savannah Guthrie. When she took the bar exam in Arizona, I think it was Arizona, or it may have been DC, maybe in the District of Columbia, one or the other. She had the highest score on the test. Like, who gets the highest score on the bar exam? Like, who gets the highest score on the bar? I certainly didn't. Savannah did. All right, let's continue. Oh, we got a bunch of things popping up here. Cheryl Pinger, 2383. Vinny, Jeff, my husband and I watch you all the time. Thank you so much for watching. We love you and thank you. With respect, we asked the question, did she have a security system and why didn't it work? Had the cameras. I don't know if she had the alarm. I don't know if she had, there's no way she had the alarm unless they were able to disable the alarm, but we haven't heard anything about that. So she may not have had the actual alarm connected to local police that is going to go off accidentally many, many times. But it didn't go off. Was it disabled or did she not have one? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Cheryl. Another lesson, right? Another lesson from all of this. But I know they can be disabled, some of these systems. In the old days, they were hardwired, so you could cut a wire. Now it's through the internet, but you can still kind of cut the internet wire, like going to the house. Did that happen? Maybe. They're creeping around disconnecting a door cam. Did they disconnect the internet as well? Very possible. All right. Jalone Kaufman again, 2723. I am on the left. I'm on the left. My twin sister is in the middle. I knew you were related. And my older sister is on the right. My twin passed away 5 years ago. Oh, so sorry. But we love Court TV and true crime. Thank you so much. Jalone. I think I'm saying that right. Jalone? Unless it's Jill. One. I think it's Jalone. Jalone Kaufman. Thank you so much. And again, great, great photograph. All right. Evan Elizabeth Duke in Arizona. Local news stating that Nancy's monitor would still reach her doctor regardless of Apple Watch being left behind. Doctor has no tracking since last Monday. Wait, that's really interesting. Monday. How did it reach the doctor? Again, I'm diabetic, so I have a glucometer that my Apple products can track. It also, my insulin pump also tracks it. So what happens with my connection to the phone is if there's a distance, right? If sometimes I could roll over a certain way and maybe the signal's not getting out, or if I leave the phone in another room, it will disconnect. So that's what happened between her disconnecting with her phone. It was at a distance. So I assumed that the pacemaker was the same sort of Bluetooth technology. But maybe there's another kind of technology that we don't know about that has the doctor being able to track it. Now, does the doctor track Does the doctor just monitor what's happening, or can the doctor track location? I got to think the doctor can't track location. That's interesting to me. And I'm that the monitor is still reaching the doctor. Huh. Because I thought what would happen is it goes to my device and then the doctor can access the app within my device, which is how it works with diabetes, with what I have, with the glucometer. That's really interesting. I thought you'd have to wear one of those life jacket devices that would monitor you, that itself directly connects to your doctor. Johnny Knoxville, my fun tonight was making ribeye chili for today and tomorrow, washing my duvet and watching your live stream. Does it get better than that? Does it? I don't think so, Johnny. I'm with you. All right. Heather Cooper Smith with another super sticker. And it is 3056 again. Look at that. All right, we got Freda Columb. Freda, 942, watching from New Zealand. This is devastating. I'm still hoping that Nancy is still alive. My heart and prayers goes out to the family. Thank you, Freda, so much. Watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, Loretta Nazaro Maloney, there should be a $1 million reward. Yeah, I agree. Personally, I think NBC should NBC just put up $1 million reward for capturing or return. Absolutely. Carmad Harma 8, $2. Vinny, are you Republican or Democrat? I am registered for neither. Thank you, Karma. I am registered for neither. I do not give money to anyone. All right. True Crime Rewind Renee. Prayers for Nancy's kids and grandkids. Mustard seed of hope is all it takes. Thank you so much, True Crime Rewind, Renee. And yeah, there are the grandchildren. And Savannah mentioned that in the first, her first Instagram post about that relationship and how they would just cover her with kisses. And it's got to be difficult for them to deal with this, the children as well. Harsh Truther 84. Thank you. I think they're paying for body location, not return. Yeah. I think most of us are reading it that way, and most of us are hoping it's not that way. I think all of us are hoping it's not that way. Not most of us, all of us. Hey, Vinny, do we know for certain the son-in-law drove her home? Any word on alibi for him or Annie that night she went missing from Heidi Peffley Nelson? They've referred to the drive home as the family. And we know that she was at Annie's, which is the family that's 10 minutes away. So could it be Annie? Well, first of all, I would just look at it this way. Either both of them drove her home or he just drove her home. I don't think she alone drove her home. So I think it's one or the other, either both or just him. Alibi that night, no, that has not been discussed, but it had to have been investigated. It absolutely had to be investigated. There's no way they did not investigate that. And what you say to the family is, listen, we just have to do this. This is just normal. You maybe have some set that says, listen, I got to ask you some questions. We just want some information. The sooner we can do this, the sooner we can move on to focusing the investigation in other places. But by the same token, the sheriff said no one has been cleared. So take that for what it's worth as well. Walter Jameson, seems like Nancy was taken at the perfect time of day, doesn't it? No one would know she's missing for 8 to 10 hours. The culprit has to know the family. Yeah, but I think anyone at that hour, right? That's the same hour with the Teppies. That's almost the same hours of the Idaho 4. Like people like this who are doing home invasions in this manner, those are the hours that they do them. If it's going to be some level of an abduction or a psychotic red rum, yeah, middle of the night, because yeah, you have time. You have time. Great point. And that's when she's most vulnerable too. Home alone in the dark in her bed. Eroy, I have an aunt who moved to Massachusetts from Florida 1 month ago. Her doctor from Florida called last week to tell her the pacemaker needs the new battery. How about that? How about that? Okay. Like I get that. But is the information going from the pacemaker to your aunt's phone to the doctor through the aunt's phone, or is it going directly from the pacemaker to the doctor? Right? I'm not sure. I mean, it would have to be a cell signal going from the pacemaker for it to get to the doctor directly in Florida. A cell signal from there. Which I wonder, is that something you could track? Location. Apparently not, because they would have tracked it, right? They would have tracked her location. BobTube TV, thank you. Happy birthday, Sean. Love to Clyde. Happy birthday, Sean. DD Bora 16 with a super sticker. Oh, that's us. That's us. Where is that? Is that CrimeCon? Where are we? I can't tell. I can't tell. Great picture. Auntie Ree 94 is back. My device is connected via a Wi-Fi to the doctor. Okay. Okay. So if the doctor, let's follow this through now. If the doctor is getting information to Monday, it's got to go through Wi-Fi, through a server. That should be able to be tracked. No? Unless they got to the doctor too late. And once it's disconnected, you can no longer retrieve that information. I don't know. Sounds to me like there should be a digital footprint there. If it's connecting to whatever the Wi-Fi is, but does it need the password? Or if it's does it connect to whatever Wi-Fi is there? Does it have to log on to it? How does that work? And how was the doctor getting stuff on Monday if that's true? I don't get it. We need an expert on this. Jeloni Kaufman, last time tonight with a big smile. My name is similar to Yvonne, but with a Jill. Jilan Kaufman. See, I was making you, I make everybody Italian. Gelone. Hey, Gelone. It's Jilan Kaufman. Great. All right, Jilan. Thank you so much. Jennifer Sube, thanking folks for their support. Another member of our incredible Mod Squad working hard tonight. We got the Mod Squad working, folks. The Mod Squad. Elisa France, Vinny, you're always a great source of information. Big fan here. Thank you. Do you know if they were able to retrieve anything from the roof camera? No, I do not know. Now, here's what's interesting about like the technology of cameras, right? Some of them record in the device itself. Like it's like a, there's some sort of a disk or drive that's in the device itself that can be removed. They do make cameras like that. In my business of television, some of the cameras we use, it'll send the signal to your phone, but it'll have a backup recording in the device itself. So that may exist. It may not exist. It may work the same way as a Ring, where it goes to a cloud and you need to pay for the subscription to get the images from it. So I don't know the answer to that, but it is possible because there are some cameras that will have a backup drive in the camera itself that records. Gene Tagger 843 from AI. Many pacemakers. Oh, good. You're doing the research tonight. Many pacemakers still transmit data to your doctor without any Bluetooth enabled smartphone. Modern implanted pacemakers can communicate in different ways depending on model and how your clinic sets up remote monitoring. Bingo. So it is possible. It is possible. And then the question is, okay, is there any, you can send this to AI, is there any circumstance under which the location of the pacemaker can be monitored without any Bluetooth or smartphone? And my guess maybe there is, because if someone's pacemaker stops working, you want to be able to locate the person. Where are they? Where did they collapse? Are they home? Are they somewhere else? Do they need help? This is a strange one. Savannah has 6 fingers in the last video. Any reason why? Let's take a look. Whoa. Robin D. Connor. Let's take a look.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace.
Okay. The one on the outside to the left side, I believe that's her sister's finger, because you see her sister's hand going there and they're sort of holding hands. That's got to be her sister's finger. And it's an optical illusion, because she's got the thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, the pinky. That would be 6, but I believe it's her sister's. But wow, how about that? Yeah, I think that's coming from her sister Annie's right arm and hand as it sort of comes around and creates the optical illusion. But you're not going to be alone on that. A lot of people are going to be talking about that, I'm sure. Okay, here we go. We got more information on this. One second. Modern pacemakers use Bluetooth or radio frequency technology to connect to a monitoring device, which then transmits data to the clinic via cellular or Wi-Fi networks. Data takes 24 hours to reach the doctor. Now that makes sense why he stopped getting it on Monday. That would be 24 hours later. Evan Elizabeth Duke in Arizona. I think you may have solved the whole thing, that he wasn't actually getting information on Monday. He was getting information, but it was 24 hours after the fact. Boom. That makes sense. That tracks, right? Bengal cat chili. Heard the theory. Some of the blood is aspirated. Okay, that's interesting, right? So how do they know it's aspirated blood? You would look at the blood stain patterns. Is it high velocity, medium velocity? which way the tail's going. Is it a spray? There's a lot of defense attorneys who attack blood stain analysis, but it's still a thing. And that's how you could attempt to tell from the blood stain patterns if it's aspirated blood. All right. And Julie Diane, 75, as a widow with children still at home, I could not sleep at night without my security system and video cameras. Everything saves to the cloud. I have backup contacts, i.e. my parents. No one would know how to disable them. Yeah. The level of security that we have these days is great. Still, someone determined to do harm will figure out a way. But there are lots of ways, right? Everything costs money, but it costs a lot less now than it used to. And you can cover a lot more. Interior cameras, exterior cameras, alarm systems, all of that as a deterrent. But again, someone determined can always find a way. Lauren HB 2500. My gut says Ransom is a cover up because they killed her, right? The ransom is, well, is it a cover up just to throw their scent off with no intent on collecting the money? Or is it like, okay, this happened. How can we take advantage of this situation? HE double hockey sticks cat in Virginia. Implanted devices report to your app. Then the doctor retrieves the info on a provider portal app. Yeah. So once you're disconnected from your app, it's then it ends, right? Pizza Enjoyer 69. I'm a pizza enjoyer too myself. Do you see her returning to television after this? After the first video, I would have said no. Not for a long time. Watching this second video, I'm saying yes. It's going to take some time. There's going to be some stories that are going to be impossible for her to do. Just impossible for her to do. There's some interviews that are going to be impossible for her to do. So they'll work around it. It'll be some time, obviously, but she'll be back. She'll be back. Johnny Knoxville, according to USA Today article I'm reading, thank you, Johnny Knoxville, Nancy's pacemaker location can't be tracked. Apple AirTags use Bluetooth from nearby devices to work. Yeah. What do Apple AirTags have to do with this, though? Are they equating the two? I think the way the AirTag devices work is that they just pick up all the Apple devices wherever they are. Boop, boop, boop. They just connect and kind of give you a location based upon all the devices that are around you. I think that's how the AirTags work. All right, folks. It's been, I got a couple more here. L Sing 87. Do we know which cam picked up the alert indicated from the timeline inside out sign? I know no sub, but is there any way to know? The sheriff said he didn't know which camera it was. He may know. His detectives certainly, I believe, would know. He didn't know or did not want to release it, whether it was an inside camera or an outside camera. Or was it the camera that was disabled and someone's walking around with it? I think those are all in play. But that information is not public. R. Fulkerson 99, thank you. I want to know what she meant by, and we understand. All right, let's play it one more time.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
That's the end. Let's go back to the beginning. Here we go.
We received your message and we understand.
And we understand. We understand no proof of life is coming. We understand that maybe proof of life is impossible. That's what I'm taking from that. The words are all chosen for a reason. They're all chosen for a reason. All right. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Obviously, I'm going to keep my eye on what's happening. If you can, regardless of what your faith is or is not, let's all, just hope and pray for the best for the Guthrie family, for Nancy. Let's hope that if she is no longer alive, that she didn't suffer. Because I know Savannah referenced the excruciating pain that she's in. But let's hope that she didn't suffer if that's the case. But let's hope and pray that she's alive and that she can celebrate with her family, and not that they are celebrating her life, that she can celebrate her return with her family. And that's all we can do. In this live stream, usually I do a bunch of things. I'm just not going to do them tonight. I'm not going to do the blood sugar. I'm not going to, a lot of things that we normally do on the live stream. Not tonight, but we'll be back and we'll get back into that at some point. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for being here. I'm not even going to play the outro song. I'm just going to put her picture up for a bit, and I'll just post some of your goodbye prayers. All right. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hug the kids. We'll see you.